In this video, I'm going to be showing you my macro settings, how to macro, and everything macro related. If you haven't seen me before, this is my Noob to Pro account that I'm currently doing, so definitely go watch that series if you haven't already, because I've made quite a bit of progress in it so far, and I plan to get an endgame tool by the end of Beesmas. It's going to be a grind, and of course macroing is part of that because, hey, I need to get the super smoothie bundle from here, so I need to play a lot, and while I'm AFKing, I may as well macro opposed to just AFKing the game for the gingerbread house. So this is how to macro. This only really works for PC. I'm sure there's maybe a way to do it on phone, but that's not what I'm specialized in. I've got 2 end game accounts with Tide Poppers, so I do know this game. It's not like I'm like a noob in this game. I am a noob right now, but it's not like I'm awful at this game. I have played this game a lot. I've got 2 accounts with Tide Poppers, completely grinded without help and everything. So basically, it's qualified to me to talk about this, I guess. Anyway, let's start with how to get the macro. I'll put some timestamps in the description or in the pinned comment for each section of this, but the first section is how to actually download the macro. Oh, by the way, I'm doing nature macro because that's the one I've always used. There's probably some better macros out there these days. I've seen some posts about better macros, but this is a macro I use, and I like this macro, and it's consistent. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is go to the Nature Macro Discord server. I'll leave a link in the description and the pinned comment. And once you're in the server, you'll have to go through the tutorial. You can either follow the tutorial, or I'll just tell you what you need to do. If you don't want to follow the tutorial, you can skip the tutorial. And then what you need to do from there is click on this button here, Nature Macro, this server, this channel here, and then you need to click on this direct download link. Discord will tell you it's a potentially dangerous download, but this is always going to happen when you're downloading something like a macro, because obviously it's a random file, it's something you have to download. But I promise this one's safe. So then you want to unzip this folder here. This folder is currently a zip file. And when you click on it, it will say this application may depend on other compressed files in this folder. You want to click extract all, then go to your downloads on your computer, and you should be able to open the file. I'm not going to show you this part because it's going to show stuff in my files in my computer. Or you could just follow the tutorial on the Nature Macro Discord server, but I understand not everyone wants to do that. But you should have this folder now open, and there's a readme and stuff. I haven't read that before, but there's this one that says start. You want to double click on that. You want to double click on this and then press run, and that should open your macro. Yet again, any help you need with this, please either use a tutorial in the Nature Macro Discord, or, just leave a comment. There's some things you want to do before you start using this macro. This is very important. If you're listening, don't just skip out now because you've got the macro. There's this couple important settings you need to enable before we get to the actual macro settings, that is. So we press escape here and then go to settings. You want to make sure this is on default classic. This is on default keyboard. You want to make sure your camera sensitivity is at 1. I personally find that graphics mode automatic is actually the best way to do this. For some reason, the tutorial says to have it to manual and then set it to the bottom, but for some reason that just breaks for me. So automatic works for me, but try both if the other one breaks. And make sure you copy all my other settings that are important. I'm not sure every single setting that's important, but most of those. Also, you want shift lock switch on. Another thing you want to do is be in full screen mode, and the shift lock and the full screen, I believe, are only if you're using the web browser version, which you probably should be using rather than the Roblox app. I believe shift lock doesn't need to be on, but I'm pretty sure it works either way. And that is everything you need to do to actually macro. Let's get into the settings of how to macro. Okay, so first I'm going to show my settings, and then I'm going to show my settings and not talk about anything, and then I'm going to go through every setting and tell you how to set them properly. So I'm just going to go through my settings first. I don't know if this is off of just a honey grinding session, and hey, my settings might not be perfect. This is meant to have blue here. My settings might not be perfect, but this is what I do. Keep looking. Here we go. Just we're getting through these. Status doesn't matter, and here's settings. That's the final one that matters. See, now don't copy my settings one for one, because each of these has certain things you need to do depending on your progress. So first of all, gathering on field rotation, you want this field here to be the field you want to grind in. And hey, if you want to rotate different fields, you can fill that in here, but we won't talk about that for now. You can work that out. Now, pattern shape, I've just kept the corner snake, but there are better ones. There's even patterns you can download, but personally, I think this is fine. I think this works, but there's better ones you can download once you get Tide Popper. I believe it's called Miku Tide Shift or something. I've got length on medium, width on free, and then all of this the same. And now let's go to the second line here. Drift compensation is a good thing to turn on only if you have the Supreme Saturator, the best sprinkler in the game, because it works on that. It basically looks for a neon green pixel, and that neon green pixel or neon blue pixel is only on the Supreme Saturator, so that only works. Gather with Shift Lock I've got off, but hey, that might be worth having it on. As I said, I'm not like a master at this or anything. I'm sure you could get better information elsewhere, but someone told me, or many people have asked me to make a video on this, so I'm making a video on it. But this works for me, so this is what I'm talking about. But hey, there could be some optimizations made, but in my opinion, this is best. Now, this one's an interesting one. 2 Hive buy. I've got it on walk because I'm early game. If you're early game, definitely walk. If you're a late game blue Hive with like buoyant bees and everything, and balloons are your main way of getting money, you want this to reset. Although most people watching this video probably walk, but if you're like super end game, you probably have macroed already and you already know. And by super end game, I don't mean that end game, but like if you rely on buoyant bees and like bubbles, reset is better. But that's once you get like Tide Popper and a lot of buoyants, a lot of mythics and everything like that. Distance I've kept to 7. Okay, so we move on to collect here, which is a bit of a subjective setting. So, clock tickets I definitely recommend, because this collects your wealth clock for you. Not only does that give you tickets, but it also gives you more honey per pollen. Mondo, I recommend getting the Mondo buff every time, because that gives you plus 10% pollen. Ant Pass, I've got on, so I get Ant Passes when I'm macroing, which is good just to fill me up. Don't click use tickets, because I'll start spending all your tickets for it. Honeystorm, personally, I don't do, but you might want to do that if you want to complete Honeybee's Beesmith's quest. Now, we're going to move to dispensers. Personally, I don't put any dispensers on other than glue. The glue dispenser is very useful. If you're early game and haven't unlocked Gummy Bee, or haven't unlocked the Gummy Bee lair, don't select the glue one. But if you've unlocked the Gummy Bee lair, definitely tick the glue one, because getting the glue every day is very useful. Merry Match, I've actually selected normal and mega these days, just because I think it's worth doing, because normal and mega I never do myself really, but I think the extreme one is a good one to save for yourself if you're earlier game. But if you're later game, I guess you don't care that much, but I like leaving the extreme one and the night one open, but you guys can do what you want with that. And then we got Beesmas here. Obviously you want to select everything. Gingerbread, you could select gingerbread, and I see a lot of comments saying about like how if you leave the gingerbread house for let's say 3 hours and then collect it, you've wasted an hour. That's not true. The time carries over. Onnit has confirmed this. The time carries over. So if you have the gingerbread house waited for 3 hours, you'll get 1 gingerbread bear and then it will save an hour. So don't worry. That is not how that works. So ticking this doesn't matter. It does not matter if you tick this or not. You'll get the same amount of gingerbread bears. And obviously take anything that you do want. I've got Samovar Feast and Stockings, but then again, I don't have, like, for example, candles. I don't have the snow machine. I don't have the lid art. I do have the lid art, but the lid art's not going to be useful in this situation. Now, the kill tab, I've got nothing selected currently, but if you want to do a bug run, I recommend selecting all and then maybe kill Vicious Bee. I don't do that anymore just because I don't really need stingers as badly, because it kind of wastes a lot of time, I think. But if you're doing a bug run, definitely select all of these and put in your monster respawn time if you do have any. Very important. There's also bosses here, but I never really do this personally. Okay, in the boost tab, we got filled boost. You can put the filled boosters you want your character to go to. I've only got blue on because that's all I care about. But if you are grinding in, I guess, multiple fills, you put blue, red, and mountain. But personally, I've got this on none. There's also hotbar slots here, so you can use the hotbar slots at a certain time. There's even some specific ones where you can set as it's a whirly gig, so it will teleport you back. It's a micro converter, so it will micro convert, whatever like that. Attacking will probably use stingers and stuff, but realistically, most early game players will want this to have never here. But if you're a later game player, maybe something in these slots would be good. Wind Shrine, I don't personally do this, but you can make an auto Wind Shrine donator. But I'm not doing that. We got the sticker stack here. The sticker stack is not bad, but also it's going to start using tickets. If you have tickets selected, it will start using tickets. But basically, I don't think that's worth selecting because it might just use stickers that you don't want to use. And then here we've got the sticker printer, which I recommend putting on for basic eggs, which basically means every single time it can, if you have basic eggs in your inventory, it'll go up to the sticker printer and put a basic egg in it. Okay, now we're on to quests. I basically have none of these enabled, but if I'm doing bug runs, I'll enable Polar Bear and Bucko Bee. That's just a preference. I mean, definitely enable Polar Bear, considering Polar Bear is really good for doing a lot of quests. Now, planters is something I don't know much about currently, just because I've kind of forgotten how to really do this properly. But realistically, if you're early game, this would work. These presets will be good enough. I've just got it in preset blue, and then you just want to tick which planters you have. I don't know why they're all ticked. I just realized they're all ticked. That's not meant to happen. Just tick the planters you have, and it will automatically plant these planters and get you a lot of nectar with these kind of priority. Although obviously there's more specialized numbers you can use here, but if you're late enough game to care about that, you shouldn't be watching this video. This video is kind of just me showing my macro settings for these newer players who are just getting into the game. If you're a late game player, you will be fine. I just want players around my level to know my settings. I'm mainly making this to show my settings, just because I get so many comments asking to show my settings. And then settings is probably one of the ones where people mess up the most. This up here is all just, you know, subjective stuff where you can change the theme of things. Who cares? Hive slot is important because obviously if you don't select the right hive slot, that's not ideal. But yeah, before you macro, just select the correct hive slot. Realistically, this game is like, this macro is smart enough to rejoin you and like load you into a new lobby if you select the wrong hive slot. But you know, that's fine. Also, select your amount of bees here. I've got 42 bees. In fact, I think I've got 43 now. I do. So obviously, put the amount of bees you've got there. And this basically just changes the amount of time it takes for the macro to convert and be at your hive and attack things. Just because it needs to know how many bees you've got, so it knows how long it needs to wait. You can put a private server link in here, which is pretty good, so it will just join the private server link every time it needs to like rejoin a server. Now this movement speed is one of the biggest things without haste. So what you want to do for this is wait for you not to have haste. For example, I don't have haste right now, and scroll down here and look for move speed. It's on 32.2 for me currently, so I put 32.2 in that gap, but it will be different for everyone. And you make sure you don't have a haste token when you look at that stat, because it will change it. Move speed correction is a good thing to have on. Move method should be cannon. Like, there's no reason for it to be walk unless you haven't unlocked the cannon. Sprinkler type is obviously your sprinkler type. I've got the golden gushers, so I've got it on golden. But obviously, if you've got diamond or supreme or anything lower, select it to that. Convert balloon gather, I've just got this to that, which I actually don't really know what that means, but I think it just doesn't really go to convert balloons much because I don't have like a buoyant bee. I don't have like buoyant bees and like a lot of balloons going on. But if you do, I think selecting that to always is the strategy. So it basically always converts your balloon when you're at the hive. But gather, I think it just after gathering, it does convert your balloon. But like obviously if you've got a massive balloon, it won't know you've got a massive balloon. Anyway, we've got this down here too, which you just want gather double reset on. You don't want disable tool use unless you want to disable tool use. And announce guiding star isn't really something important. And you got a lot of stuff here where you can do some fun stuff, but this isn't really part of the macro. And there it is. You've watched the most incoherent macro video on YouTube. But this video isn't necessarily for everyone and all the pro players. If you haven't macroed before to learn how to macro, there are much better guides probably going into details. But the main reason I made this video is because I really wanted to show my macro settings, because I've been asked by about 4 people already, and I'm sure just more people want to know. So those are my macro settings, but let me know if you need any help in the comments. And there will be a Bee Swarm New to Pro video coming out tomorrow, so don't worry about that. I'm working on one right now. Well, in fact, I haven't started yet, but that's because I'm recording this the day before, so you know, that's why. But yeah, I'm about to work on another Bee Swarm video, don't worry. Progress has gone forward since this video has been recorded, because I'm probably going to release this video like a whole like 20 hours after I record it. We've got this vector beam now from last episode if you didn't watch that. Anyway, goodbye.